also refused to resign. So joining us now, attorney Anahita Sedaghatfar. Sedaghatfar. Bobby usually says her name. She is with the counsel for the Cochrane law firm. Yes. She is obviously a martyr here, standing her ground, and you know, many of her supporters, I think, want to see the optics of her being dragged out of the courthouse for not issuing these marriage licenses. But what, you know, who has jurisdiction here, and what could potentially happen to her?
Well, the United States Supreme Court has jurisdiction, and they've ruled that same-sex couples have a constitutional right to get married, and that is the law of the land. That's the bottom line. Now,
doesn't matter how you feel about it.
It doesn't, exactly, and I have no objection to her believing that, you know, she doesn't believe in gay marriage. She believes marriage is between man and a woman. A lot of people believe that. That's fine.
And that's fine.
And that's fine, but the problem here is she is a publicly elected official. She is being paid with taxpayer dollars, and so she can't put her personal beliefs over the United States Supreme Court ruling.
So as Lauren asked, what can happen to her? She could be held in contempt of court.
Absolutely. I think that's what's going to happen here.
And what does that mean?
There's a hearing on Thursday, and basically the judge is going to rule whether or not she's violated the court order, because she was sued and she filed a counterclaim trying to get excused from issuing these. Exactly, for religious purposes. It was denied. She appealed it. It was denied. She went to the U.S. Supreme Court. They rejected it, and now she's forced to issue the licenses, but she's not doing it.
Could she be fined?
She can be fined.
Could she be put in jail?
She can be put to jail. I don't see her going to jail, though.
Well, the defendants aren't asking for that either.
But the judge has discretion. Certainly, the judge can put her in jail. But what I see happening is the judge is going to impose very high fines, and it's probably going to keep going day after day after day until she complies.
Can they pull her out of office?
Well, no, and that's the question that I've been asked a lot. She can't be fired because she is an elected public official. So she would have to be impeached by the state legislature, which likely isn't going to happen. Or if the attorney general decides to criminally charge her with something and she gets convicted, then certainly she can be forced to step down.
So a judge would not be able to remove her from office?
Not at this point, no. I think she voluntarily should step down, because if she realizes that her personal beliefs are preventing her from implementing the law, remember, she took an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution, to uphold the law. This is the law now. If she
We're not talking about a baker who doesn't want to make a cake for a gay wedding. That's a private...
Completely different. That's a private... And she's entitled to her private beliefs.
Sure.
But not when she's working in a public capacity, which is really the issue here.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not sure if you know, but we saw this when interracial couples were trying to marry years ago, and many people said it was against their religious beliefs to marry these people, and many of them were either arrested or fined or removed from their office.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be the same situation here?
Well, that's the slippery slope argument that I think the courts don't want to get involved with this, because what's next? If they allow her to be excused from fulfilling this job duty, it's part of her job to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. What's next? What if a county clerk doesn't believe in interracial marriage and they're religiously opposed to that? Can they then say, I'm not going to give a marriage license to this couple?
Well, now, has she stopped issuing licenses, period, or is she just not issuing licenses to gay couples?
She has not been issuing them, period, since this U.S. Supreme Court ruling, but the court wasn't buying that as an argument. You can't say, well, I'm just going to stop issuing them altogether based on my religious liberties. That's not an argument the court was buying. And she can't say, well, they can go to any other county in this state. The court's not buying it. You have a duty to fulfill your job requirements. She's not doing that. So I see her getting sanctioned and fined in contempt of court.
And any way you look at this, there's no way this is going to end well for her.
No way. It's not looking good for her at all. Either she's going to take a stance, she's going to be, refuse to pay the sanctions, at which point it'll just keep adding up and adding up, adding up, or she will do the right thing and just step down and say, you know what, I'm morally opposed to what my job requires me to do, so I will step down and let someone else take my position.
Anahita, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Wait and see how that one turns out. All right, so